Today we're covering glyphs, and I'm going to try to cover as much ground as possible in a short period. Before you click away, before you just hate glyphs, this guide is actually for those of you who despise the idea of managing glyphs, maybe even to the point where you haven't even started. I want to give you some basic recommendations to simplify your experience. The idea is to give you a basic strategy that you can apply across all of your characters very quickly. If you want to set it and forget it, that's fine. Or if you still want to get down into the weeds later on, this will give you a solid foundation to start from. Before we get into some of the more granular discussions about the primaries, secondaries, and glyph sets, I want to show you a little graphic that I put together. So this is just some basic observations about glyphs and in general how the meta has shifted since glyphs came out. You'll notice that some of these observations are going to be a little bit different from the character cards that I've been putting together and posting onto my Discord server. I'm going to leave those character card recommendations and glyph recommendations for now, because I do think that those initial recommendations stand as good recommendations, but the meta has shifted to the point where you really just can't ignore Bloodlust at this point. So you'll see that I've broken this set of observations into sort of 5 categories, if you will. This is going to evolve a lot over the coming months, and this is not really meant to be a way to pigeonhole you into a very specific choice for each character. I think you should use each character the way that you think the kit works best. But I do think that you'll get a lot of use out of doing it this way. So observation number 1, I think Elrond, Tabeb, and any character that needs to access a specific move faster, maybe Naraz, I think you run them with Limbus plus 1 set of Bloodlust. For tanks and supports, I think you run them with Last Stand plus Bloodlust. So you can see that there are a couple of characters here in the Last Stand group that you could probably just run with 3 Bloodlust on them. Characters like Thorin and Gandalf, you could make a good argument that you could run over there. But I think some of these characters will get a lot of use out of having Last Stand, that proccing when they get a little bit lower health. And then 2 or more Bane moves or an AoE Bane. So characters like Golbers, Great Goblin, Uters, Isengard characters, particularly Dunhar and Azhak, who are able to apply bleeds. I think those characters benefit a lot from a Withering set. I would run them with Withering and Bloodlust. Again, Bloodlust is the common theme here. And then the last group is attackers, and really it's more of just a catch-all. Every character would probably do well with full Bloodlust set. I know that's crazy, and it's actually probably going to result in a nerf. I certainly think that when you're in a meta where everyone's just saying run Bloodlust on everything, that's not a good thing. It's funny that everyone was up in arms about the impact that speed was going to have on the game, and we've got a glyph set bonus that provides a lot of turn meter manipulation. It's actually maybe more busted than speed was or is in SWGO. In general, until CG switches things up, you need to be running Bloodlust on most characters. So hopefully you find this helpful. So hopefully that graphic gives you a good idea of which characters to apply which glyph sets to. Obviously, as I mentioned, it's very subjective, but I think it will put you in the right direction. And the other thing is, you'll notice that was not a full set of all characters. That was very deliberate. This graphic is going to be a companion to the farming guide that I'm working on, and those characters that were included in that graphic are a lot of the characters that will be mentioned in the farming guide that's coming up in the coming weeks. So the next thing that I want to bring to your attention before we talk about some of the specific glyph primaries and secondaries you're looking for. If you are trying to figure out which primaries or secondaries or which primaries can go where, go into the supply store, click on one of the glyphs, and then click the little information button. It's a nice little graphic here that shows you which primaries can go in which glyph slots. And I would highly recommend you take a screenshot of this just for future reference. That I think that can be very helpful. But as you can see, slot 1, you can only have a health primary. Slot 2, you can only have a damage primary. Slot 3, you can only have an armor primary. Slot 4, you can have health, damage, armor, or focus. Slot 5, you can have health, damage, armor, or resistance. Slot 6, you can have everything. You can have health, armor, focus, resistance, and damage. So very helpful little graphic, quick way to get to that reference. Hopefully you'll find that interesting. Let's take a look at my Ironhide. You can see that I have full Bloodlust on him. Actually, I guess it really doesn't matter. We can look at Elro here instead. Another character that I have full Bloodlust on. So for primaries, we're going to keep it simple. There are 5 primary slots. We already mentioned that. Health, focus, damage, armor, resistance. That's my ranking. When you're equipping primaries, the things that you need to be looking for, obviously your slots 1, 2, and 3, they're set. You're not going to be able to do anything about that. But for your 4, 5, and 6, prioritize health first, prioritize focus second, and in particular, if you know it's a character that you need to apply a Bane, focus is going to be your number 2, or really your number 1 thing that you're looking for. You want to get focus in both your 4 and 6 slots. And then damage. So if you're not trying to apply a specific Bane, you can move away from the focus and go to damage. So health, focus, damage. Armor and resistance are important, and you're going to see other people probably disagree with me here. But again, I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for you. And when you start worrying about whether or not your character has enough armor or resistance, it just gets very complicated to deal with. So look for health, focus, damage. If you don't have those on your 4, 5, and 6, then find another one. For your secondaries, in general, speed matters way less for this game than it does for Swago, and that's primarily because CG has nerfed the speed that they were originally going to put on these glyphs into oblivion. Speed can matter on certain characters, but in general, you don't have to push for speed. For an attacker, so someone like Elro here, what we're looking for is, in this order, in my opinion, speed. This is a situation where speed does matter. Damage, crit chance, crit damage, focus, and health. Those are kind of the top 6. But what you really want to get for an attacker, crit chance, crit damage. If I see a glyph that has crit chance and crit damage on it, I save it. I don't care whether we can take a look at one here. Maybe I have a good example. Yeah, so here's one. This glyph has crit chance and crit damage, and it has decent speed on it. I didn't care in the original roll that the first crit damage roll was low. I just cared about the fact that it has crit chance, crit damage, actually has decent focus and speed on it. So I was looking for, just the fact that those things existed, because in later rolls you can get those specific secondaries higher. And in this case, we had a decent roll for speed on the second roll, and we had a crit chance roll. So just keep that in mind. Like you're looking for 2, maybe 3 things out of those 6 that I named: speed, damage, crit chance, crit damage, focus, and health. You get 2 or 3 of those, good. Or if you get 3 or 4 of those on the same glyph, you can roll it to be a better glyph. Obviously, resources are very limited, so you have to be careful about that. But if you're just trying to get level 5 glyphs onto your characters and you just want to leave it at that, look for 1 or 2 of these, make sure it's on there, roll it up to level 5, call it a day. So let's find a tank. We'll just go with Eladin. Again, I've got full Bloodlust on Eladin as well. Some of the things that I'm looking for a tank. I'm looking for health. I'm looking for block chance, focus, armor and resistance, and block mitigation. For Eladin, it's not quite as important, and obviously I'm running a very aggressive Eladin, so it doesn't apply as much here, but I am still looking for block chance, which is going to be incredibly helpful for things like Chapter 3, Chapter 4, but just in general for a tank, block chance is good. Again, I'm looking for focus in some situations where I'm trying to apply Banes, but if that's not the case, then you can move that one out of the way. Obviously, health, armor, resistance are still going to be good. But again, the idea is you're looking for 2 or 3 of these things on the same glyph, and like this one has a lot of damage on it. It's got block chance and health, which were the 2 things that I was most concerned with. Here's one that I really liked. It's a health primary. It's got health on it, and it has a little bit of resistance as well. That's the basic idea for a tank. And then for supports and healers, you're looking for... Let's see if we can find a good example here. We'll go with Elrond. So what I'm looking for with a support or a healer is health, speed, focus. Again, focus becomes incredibly important if you have a character that's trying to apply a Bane. And then armor and resistance are sort of tertiary concerns. And on the point of armor, I think Swag's new Glyph video has a lot of really good information on armor. Maybe you will disagree with me a little bit if you watch that video on whether armor or health is more important. But to me, making it simple, keep it simple, stupid. Health is the most important factor here. Really, if you want me to boil it down even better for you, put Bloodlust on every single character and then make sure that it has health on it and call it a day. Maybe that's a little too boiled down, but you get the idea that I'm going for here. At the end of the day, if you want your account to be optimized, you need to do much more than what I'm telling you to do in this video. You'll need to upgrade your glyphs to level 10 eventually, and you need to make sure you've got good glyphs to upgrade. If you want an even deeper dive into glyphs, I do highly recommend you take a look at Swag's new video, which breaks down glyph choice and stat optimization in greater detail. Big shout out to the work he and his community have put into that video. I hope that you appreciate this video and just the attempt to give you a very simple overview of glyphs and how to use them on your account, especially for people who are just kind of already sick of them and they've only been out for less than a month. If you did enjoy this video, I hope you will join my Discord, join the discussion there. You'll be able to download this glyph observation guide as well as plenty of other infographics on individual characters. We got the new farming guide coming out, and today is the 31st. I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed new year, and I look forward to many more videos and hanging out with you guys in 2024. Quantum out.